All right, welcome in to Vision Pros Live. With Jackson Callum, I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there. Andrew Brummer, tell me about your vision.
My vision to impact as many people as I can. So plant seeds that will grow trees that I'll never sit under, impact as many as I can. My personal vision is that by 2032, I'm able to do that from anywhere in the globe. Have had settled the financial world, got life glued together correctly so that I can be helping people from anywhere.
Wow, that's a broad, bold, philanthropic vision. Reminds me a lot of Johnny Appleseed as well. I'm a big fan of Johnny Appleseed, and I love the concept. So I guess tell me about where your vision came from.
And,
what made you figure out that was the path?
Yeah, so I think a lot of life things, just COVID, just a lot happened. I'm working in a startup, battling financially in the startup for it to get itself to where it was, servant pleaser. I was accustomed to being in the back office of the black box that helps people be successful, be that them winning their title, selling their company, just being in the back, helping people get stuff done. And then in 24, I had a bit of a pivot, and that pivot really shook me quite extensively. It was quite an intense experience, and figured, I have to strive towards doing something fundamentally different. And originally South African, arrived in the US under the US visa program, so indentured servitude. Then got comfortable and decided not to do anything with myself. I got very lazy, very comfortable, the way most people do when they get a decent job and they're enjoying what they're doing. And that was a bit of a wake-up call. And I just figured, I need to reset myself and set myself a dream. And that stage, it was a 7-8 year vision of where I wanted to go, and started working towards it.
Okay. When was that?
24.
When was it that you immigrated?
I immigrated in 2003.
Okay. So
Yep.
it's been a while since then,
Yep.
and quite the journey since.
Yep.
Okay. So what's your vision for the people that you serve?
It's going to sound just cliched. I have a dream to help people find their mustard seeds and to help them actually see it for what it was designed to be, not what society has taught it to be, and to help them learn how to water their own mustard seed so that it can grow into what they're capable of being. And if what they're capable of being is what they've learned to be, no love lost. But most people have come to be something that society or circumstance has helped them or placed them to be. And my dream is to help people open their eyes, to create spaces. And I don't want to, again, use the cliched word safe spaces, but to create a world where people can talk without worrying about consequence, can challenge, can query, without worrying about there being an echo of that uncertainty or that pondering, meandering, wondering, challenging, and to help people look in the mirror and say, what do I do with myself? I often have a discussion with people, or get to a point, I'll say to them, so I'm going to ask you a question now, and I don't want you to answer me. It's clear to me that in everything we've just spoken about, you don't have an answer for yourself. And for you to move yourself forward, you have to find your own answer. And you don't owe me that answer, you owe yourself that answer. And helping people get to that point in a very, very comfortable, graceful, kind, considerate, caring way that people can then go have that discussion with themselves without feeling embarrassed or beating themselves up or feel like they're accountable to answer to somebody.
Very good. Yeah, and I wouldn't call that cliche. But I guess my next question for you, Andrew, is why do you care?
I have an answer for you. I have always cared. I love people. I love humanity. I think we're all messed up in our own unique ways. And I think as we all get to certain stages in life, we realize that we are gifted with skills and capabilities that help people. And for me, it took a bit of a shake-up in March of 24 to force. I've always cared, always care. I've always driven and been fair with people. I've had a very challenging world. I've had a very rich experience in life. It has had its very, very dark moments and very bright moments. And in 24, it just kind of forced me. And I just said, I learned through all of the volunteer coaching that I was doing and the volunteer networking I was doing. I learned that I'm really, really, really good at bringing the best out in people. I'm great at helping people introspect in safe ways, that they can find their feet, find themselves, find their soul, and go have discussions with themselves. And some of them come back and they have discussions with me. For others, it's too much and they don't want it, and they go away and I don't see them again. And that's fine. Everybody to their own. And I just, courtesy COVID, we've landed ourselves up in a very isolated world. This whole remote hybrid thing, where people have forgotten how to network. Zoom rage is a thing. People have forgotten how to be human with one another. And I've been blessed. I've been very privileged with everything I've done in life and everything I've seen and experienced. And if helping people find their version of that is where it's at, then that's great. I couldn't tell you at what point I started caring. For as long as I've known, I've cared, and I've looked after people all around me. Just in March, it became more than just the people in my inner and outer circle. It became anybody that reached out and said, I need a hand.
Nice. Well, I think that's a great slowdown point, an opportunity. So originally you said you've always cared, and now you said you're not quite sure where it was at. And I was going to challenge you on it. I was going to ask that because one, I'm always curious, and that self introspection is super helpful for everybody's sake.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling as a 6-month-old baby, you cared more about your diaper being changed, right? You cared more about the food that you got. You cared more about the sleep that you needed
Fair.
than what everybody else needed.
Fair.
And so some people have a shift as a child, as a young being of thinking through, how do I serve others? Other people, like you said, realize it later in life.
Yep. I would say
that transition is always helpful.
Yeah, I would say I cared for the longest time, but the real question for me is, at what point did I action it? At what point did I actually lean in and say, this is something that I'm gifted at doing and something I'm really good at doing and something that is naturally me? And at what point did I stretch it beyond the people that were in my immediate family circle, friend circle, work circle, to people out there? I did it in South Africa from about the 2000 to 2003 window. And then I came to the US and into the visa program. And then in 24, woke up again.
Good. And that is, you said you did it in 2004?
Yeah, I did it. I was very involved in serving and looking after people around me from about the mid-90s to 2003. And then I came to the US, and everything changes then, right? You're on your own. There's no family around you. You've got my wife, my 2 kids. So your priorities change. Your focus shifts. There's a switch in you that goes into almost survival mode, just trying to make it through and kind of put feet on the ground. So I wouldn't say at all that I woke up to start caring in 24. I would say I always did. I did before that. I just got so comfortable and so complacent that as a priority took second fiddle. It wasn't a priority.
You mentioned something about your gifts and kind of locking in on that and in order to help people. What are the gifts that you're referring to?
I'm a multiplier. I'm a solutionist. My Colby's a 3395. That puts me in a very high banner of intuition. I'm really good in the minute of being able to sense what's going on, what somebody's dealing with, what they're trying to cope with. I have to be very careful that I allow people to finish their thought processes and not interrupt them, because it can be quite disconcerting or a know-it-all. And graceful, compassionate, caring, fair-minded. And I'm really good at being a trapeze net for people. So I'm really good at telling them, hey, there's a high wire over there. Yeah, how about you go climb that high wire, and helping them find that inspiration to do that, and then being that trapeze net, so that when they fall, if they fall, I'm there to catch them and say, oh, geez, well, that was an experience. Off you go, back up, off you go. And I do that in very, very altruistic, very caring, very human ways. My mom taught me always just to love and accept people as they are, because you never know what they've been through. You just don't know who they are and why they've come to be what they are, why they are who they are. Just love them as they present themselves, and then work with them to find the very best in and out of them. And if people are not ready, they're not awake, or they haven't got to that point of being self-curious, then don't press them. Poke the bear, and the bear that wants to talk back, speak to it, and be loving, caring, and kind with it.
That's beautiful, and I think very wise words as well. So tell me more about your vision, Andrew. Where do you see yourself going with it? Is this something where you're going to help one person, and you're okay with that, or is it something you want to scale to billions of people, or what's that look like?
I mean, Tony Robbins just is busy launching a whole care plan. We've got an existential crisis as a humanity ahead of us around AI. So if you say to me, what was my plan a year ago, I would say my goal is to leave, and I think this is in other podcasts that I've had, my goal is to leave a trail of breadcrumbs. I'm a rapid impactor. I can be involved with somebody for 3 months and move on and have dramatically impacted them. My goal is not to have 1 or 2 people that stay with me for life, or 10 people that stay with me for life. My goal is to go through and dramatically impact as many people as I can, and give them the hunger, or help them find their hunger, that allows them to go find the next person that's going to take them the next tier of their life, and then move on. So that, if you'd asked me this question a year ago, I had a very clear answer, and that was leaving breadcrumbs. I think in today's world, with AI moving as fast as it is, we've got a problem around the corner where a lot of people are going to be impacted as a result of it, as a result of people that have learned how to use AI, and some people their skill sets are going to become less relevant, less commercially relevant. So their work-life purpose is going to have atrophied, and then purpose becomes a problem. And if people have been surrounded inside of COVID where they've worked remotely, then their professional network is incredibly isolated, especially for growth. Kind of what's next? What if this happens? Then what? Our friend circle has become very, very, very selective. We don't just go to parties and just as a large scale. And I'm not just speaking to the young adults. I'm talking to the mid-range, elderly, old, anywhere from 35 up, who have kind of got comfortable with life and family and their close circle of friends. And the older you get, the more difficult it's going to get. And we've got so many people that are going to face an existential crisis as they battle to absorb and embrace AI, and as they battle to make themselves commercially relevant. People are going to lose purpose. And when people lose purpose, that's when trouble starts. So Tony Robbins has just started a thing to, I don't know how long it's been. I just listened to some of his podcasts. I don't know how long he's been driving this now, but the goal is to get to a point of retooling people that are potentially going to be affected by AI, and whether that's retooling them within AI to use AI, or retooling them through AI and training to do something other than the knowledge work that they were skilled to do. But I think it is a big problem, and it's something that is going to have to be solved at scale. So if you say to me, what's my vision? My vision is to contribute towards that dream of helping people find themselves as quickly and as verbosely as possible, as fast as possible, so that the people that end up purposeless or missionless or driveless or goalless actually find a new tomorrow, whether that's hobbies, whether it's studying, learning, creating, building, changing careers, but helping people leverage the tech at our disposal to find a new tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And ideally, I could do that from anywhere. Yeah, sorry, Karen.
Oh, you're good. Last question for you. Probably one you won't hear too often, but it's of big importance to me, and that is what are you doing to build out the infrastructure? For such a goal and an ambition, because a lot of people have the idea that they want to do that, but they don't create the necessary foundation and the necessary pieces to be able to really help people at scale.
Yeah,
Tony's got a massive infrastructure,
yeah, correct,
and that's why he's able to make
correct.
such a difference in so many people's lives. So what are you doing to go about that?
So what I was doing, so the scale thing is brand new, right? So that I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. What I have been doing over the
Sure.
past 20 odd months is building my version of scale. And that was me as my solopreneur, solo individual, build a small team of people around me that can affect as many people as possible. I've built my site, I've built my networking, I've written 2 books, I've done what I can to try and create volume for myself out there, to create the platform, the credibility platform that gives me the capability to expand. It's been a fantastic 21, 22 months. It's been, and 2 years has been fantastic from a growth perspective, learning, seeing what you can do, impacting perspective. And of late, literally in the last week, 2 weeks, in seeing these podcasts, saying what Tony vocalized is what I would love to aspire to. Do not have the resources. So in my way, I will continue driving and impacting, but it's super clear to me that this mission I'm on right now, that I started 20 odd months ago, is a very clear targeted mission. And the key is to figure out how I do that in my space, in my world, or tie into worlds like Tony's, who would then be able to do it at a scale that I'm not skilled to do at.
Sure. Well, I appreciate your humility as well as your conviction regarding what you're building. I think it'd be nice to bring you back on the show perhaps and take a look at what you've built over the
Yeah.
21 to 22 months. We won't do that right now, but I'd love to see the website and see what's there. And visionaries, those of you listening in, this is such an important topic because, one, we should honor our visions, and our visions matter no matter what scale they're at currently, even if we're at the beginning in the incubation stage. I have a dear friend who is a born-again Christian, and he loves to talk about what needs to be done in society and all of that. And I know the same friend, if I were to ask him and say, okay, look, you got 200,000 people who are ready to follow you. Where do we go next? He's got no answer. He's got zero vision for where to take people and zero infrastructure to be able to help them. And so that's where a lot of us as visionaries get stuck, as we have these grand ideas, but we need to make sure we're taking action on them. So it sounds like, Andrew, you have taken a lot of the action. You've been thinking through what that process looks like. And we're always excited to see it because I think every visionary has the opportunity to learn from the next visionary too, of what's there and what's built. So with that being said, visionaries, those of you who want to come on the show and talk about your vision and work through it, or share where you're at with it and where you're going, there's a button that says Be Our Guest. Come join us as a guest and show us what your vision's up to. And Andrew, I'll leave you with the final words. What's the final words of wisdom or advice that you have for other visionaries out there?
Jackson, I appreciate you. So everything is mindset. Get your head in the game. Set your dream. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, whatever is the most uncomfortable for you, that you're like, I just have no idea how I'm going to put the dot on the wall. Start there. Wake up tomorrow morning, put your foot on the ground and start building a plan to get there. Reverse engineer it from 10 years into your milestones of how you get there, and then start executing towards that dream. And without dreams, without hope, without visions, there is nothing. The world and humanity are built on dreams. We're built on hope. Yes, and things do fail, and we do miss the dream, and we do miss the target. And it doesn't matter that it matters if you hit your dream. But what's more important is that you dream, is that you have a vision. Whether you get there or not, that's up for time, servitude, the people around you, the resources around you, the money that's available. But the act of dreaming, the act of creating that vision is vital. So create your vision, get out of bed tomorrow and start executing.
I will add one piece of Angel's Advocate advice on that, visionaries. I agree wholeheartedly with what Andrew said in the context of wisdom and stewardship, being a wise steward of what you're up to. There's a common sales trend taking place over the last several years where a salesperson will challenge you to be outside of your comfort zone. And I do agree with that. But I want you to think about it like stretching a rubber band. What happens if I take a rubber band and I stretch it too far? Right? If I stretch that rubber band too far, it breaks and then it becomes useless.
Yep.
I think too many of the people who are in the personal development space and in the high dream space end up doing that without the discipline of recognizing where your true limits are, and you end up being socially pressured and just going after it. So there's a balance to be had there. Definitely dream, definitely see the opportunity with your passion, your purpose, and your visions, just like Andrew talked about, and make sure that you're doing that based on your own desires. That way you don't become a burn victim who's blaming every sales company out there for leading you off a cliff. It's our responsibility as adults to make sure to refine what our own limitations are, as we also, pragmatically look at the opportunity to dive into optimism and to be a dreamer and to be a visionary and be as safe as you can, as you also make sure to fulfill those visions. Go ahead, Andrew. I told you I'd give you the last word. I kind of took it from you, but I just want to
No,
provide that.
those are great words of stewardship there. So thank you for that. For me, the dream is about, it's one thing to dream, right? You can dream whatever dream you want. The key is execution, and the execution is where we hold ourselves accountable to something that's not attainable. And you got to be so careful, because you can do self-failure and then it just doesn't work. Then everything's a waste. Set the dream as big as you can, and then tomorrow, change 5 minutes of your life. Just 5 minutes. Just wake up a little bit earlier, brush your teeth a little bit differently, put the shoes on in different order. Just do something tomorrow that moves you forward, because the dream can be as big as you want it to be. But your self-accountability towards execution, be very graceful with yourself, be very kind, be very forgiving, because realizing dreams is hard, and it starts with 1 minute at a time. And set yourself a goal, achieve it, and then set yourself the next goal, and hold yourself accountable that when you've achieved it, you move on to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, and do them small pace. When I did Kilimanjaro, there's a term called pole pole. Slowly.
There it is. You heard it from Andrew Brummer, Vision Pros. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.